We got a straight up warrior in the house. This man isn't just a fighter, he's a two-time world champion, a dude who's gone toe-to-toe with some of the biggest names in the game, and a guy who's built his name on resilience, power, and a straight up will to win. I'm talking about none other than Andre Berto. All right, dude, let me ask you a question. You fought some absolute monsters in the ring, but tell me this. What was the moment in your career that scared the hell out of you? Like, man, I might not make it out of this one.
When I was in Atlanta one time, actually, I went to go see. I used to live in Atlanta. I went to go see my boy, Vander Holyfield at the time. He sat down and talked to me for a nice little bit. At this time, I'm just going. I'm the hottest prospect to come out of the Olympics, and I'm just knocking everybody out. He's like, "Listen, you're gonna know that you're in the pro game once you really step into that square circle, and those punches feel like they're just going." Like they're going through your face, and they're just about to go through your body, and you just don't have no way out. And afterwards you really feel the effect of it, which I didn't really understand at the time because I was just running through everything. I'm knocking everybody out pretty easily and just putting on the show, just having a good time. I had probably a few months after that, I fought one of my first big showcases on HBO. I fought a kid named David Estrada. I was a veteran. He fought Shane Mosley, De La Hoya, everybody. He was just giving them hell. We're in there, and he just ran straight to me, and he was just in my chest from the first round on, banging me. And he just did not care who I was. He didn't care. I was this new hot prospect in boxing, this new star. He was going to upset me. He was in my chest. He was hitting me with some of the hardest shots I've ever felt. I can literally can feel his knuckles, like the knuckles from his hand wraps through the gloves every time he hit me, from the top to the body. He's going to my body nonstop, going up top to my head, and I'm going back to my corner. And I'm like, shit, I'm hitting this dude with everything. He's not going anywhere. That's when I knew. I'm like, okay, this shit is serious. And like I said, we went to war, man. We went to war for 11 rounds. I ended up really finding out who I was and really had to dig down deep and pull something else out that I had to, come into a place of just not refusing to wilt at any time and to really show myself that I was here to be the best. And I ended up knocking them out in the 11th round, but it was hell for all 11. But when I walked back in the dressing room, that was my first time seeing my face look different. When I walked by the mirror, my face was lumped up, and I just didn't understand. It was just hard for me to even see that it could do that. And then I went to the bathroom. I used the bathroom. I took my cup off, had to piss. When I say I pissed and it looked like just red Kool-Aid was coming out, that's when I knew. I said, okay, this is a different situation. This was my first time. I just wanted to go back to the hotel. I just wanted to soak in the tub. I didn't want to go out and party. I didn't want to go hang out. I got a chance to really spend some time to myself and just to lay in that tub and really think about my life. Like, shit, is this what I want to do? You know what I mean? So I think that was that first time in that fight when I really felt like, okay, this is some different shit.
Where's that dude now?
I think he was retired now. He fought a few other, big fights, after that. Like I say, everybody asks me what's my toughest fight I've ever had. I've always say that because that's the fight that pretty much I think just introduced me to the fight game, like to the pro fight game, when I knew it was serious. But I don't know. I think he retired some time ago. I think he's coaching now. I think he's coaching up in Detroit.
Does he got a little dough or no?
I don't. You don't see too many guys with a little dough when they finish.
That's what I was going to go to because
Oh, for
boxing's
sure.
one thing, but let's talk a little business.
Yes,
'Cause
sir.
most fighters go broke after the gloves come
Of
off.
course.
What's the biggest money mistake you ever made? How'd you bounce back? Because you got a little rundy still. You
Yeah,
got
I
a
got
bunch actually.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
How'd
yeah.
you do it? How'd you keep it all?
I was just scared, man. I was nervous. I was scared and I was nervous. My parents, they're like I said, they're immigrants from Haiti. So the way that we grew up and the way that we were brought up, it was still so vivid in my mind growing up. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, just living in a small apartment, water shutting off from time to time, not having food from time to time, wearing shoes from Payless or from the garage sales, whenever. So I just knew that I had what it took to take our situation and just put us in a better position. But even though when I got the money, and I enjoyed myself. Listen, trust, I enjoyed myself, but that was always the first thing that came to mind. I didn't ever want to go back, so I
Did
wanted
you
to
ever?
try to. You go ahead.
No, go ahead.
You know what I mean? So first off, the first thing I did, like fortunate thing about it was I had my boy, Tracy McGrady, the NBA player. We grew up in the same area, and he was that guy that went to the NBA from our town that blew up and went crazy, and he would come back from time to time, and he used to always hear about me. He used to just kind of just keep me around his situation, and I used to see him with his business manager all the time, and I wanted to speak to him, and I wanted to let them know, like, okay, cool, I'm next up. I'm about to go to this Olympics, and I want to try to make sure my situation is structured the right way, because just like early on, I've always seen that a lot of these guys went broke, and I didn't understand why. I wanted to find out why, we didn't have a structure like these NBA guys, like I said, like these baseball guys, or that. I wanted to find out what was wrong, what was the missing piece, like what was broken. And of course, I found out just from research that we just never had a union at all. Boxing doesn't have a union. It's still like in the Wild Wild West. And if you have great talent, they take a kid from the hood, they're gonna put you right in the ring. And if you can fight, you fight. They're gonna hand you a check, and you figure it the fuck out. You figure it out after that. So you take these kids from the inner city, man. They ain't never had nothing. And you give them a check. Shit, they're gonna think that's free money. They're gonna go spend it. They're gonna have a good time. They're gonna blow it. You know what I mean? They don't know what taxes are. They don't know what LLCs are. They don't know what you know what I mean? They don't know none of that shit is. It's I fought, get my money, and I'm gonna go have fun. And I think a lot of guys they continue to, run with that mentality. And I think fear. It was fear that kind of put me in the position to try to figure it out.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's usually what screws people. Did you ever blow some money? Like, what was the
Oh, for
biggest money
sure.
mistake you made?
Golly. Ah, man. Hey, to be honest, what I used to do, I put my team together, right? I put my financial team together, through my guy Tracy McGrady. I ended up hiring his same team, business managers, accountants, blase. And every time I got a check, I wanted to make sure it made me feel better to feel like I did the right thing first. Okay, cool. Give him the check. Make sure that he puts away for taxes. Make sure he puts money in my 401k and fill it all the way up. And make sure, got my guy from Merrill Lynch, take what you need to invest. Da, da, da. The rest of the money, I can have fun with. So at that point, you know what I mean? Like that was kind of my strategy for a while. But I did have a great time. I used to live in Atlanta. I blew money in strip clubs. I blew money on cars. I blew money. I had a real estate deal that went. If we talking about probably my biggest loss, it was this real estate deal that I did, with a friend of mine's that didn't really have too much of knowledge. And at that time, I was just getting so much money, and I didn't really have so much of the knowledge at the time. And I kind of did it somewhat as a favor, like I said, outside of my business manager's, consent. I lost about probably 1.5. That's probably
Yee.
my biggest. Yeah, that was tough. That was a tough hit.
Dude, so when you're in that fight, it's the 11th round, you're beat to shy. What's going through your head, dude? Like, what separates the champs from the
Damn.
chumps?
Man, it's the will to win, man. It's I think that was the first fight I was literally going back to the corner, just nervous and scared to a sense of, not so much scared, but nervous to a sense, like shit, like this guy, like he's not following the script. Like he's really trying to knock me out in front of everybody. Like what's going on? It's like I had to really take deep breaths and just really just talk to myself, you know what I mean, in that corner, let myself know, like, okay, listen, I've been through 9 to 10 weeks of camp. I'm a beast. I'm an animal. I can't let him get over. I can't let him change my family's trajectory. I can't let him take everything that I've been working for. I can't let him do it. You know what I mean? So when I step out here, I have to press. I have to move forward. Everything that he hits me with, it's not gonna be enough. It's not gonna be enough. Like you have to switch in your mind and make it a point that it doesn't matter what that person does, it's not going to be enough. And agree to it, and that's just what it's going to be. He's going to have to kill me tonight. So I ended up having to make that switch mid-fight of feeling like, oh, I'm gonna go out here, show out, it's going to be fun. You know what I mean? Another good knockout to, oh shit, this guy's going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. He's gonna make this a long night. And he's cracking me, and this shit hurts. But I gotta make my mind up now that it's not gonna be enough, and I'm not going nowhere. You know what I mean? It's gonna be me and him. That's it. It's gonna be me and him tonight. So that's the type of those are the type of decisions, man, you have to make in war. And some people, it doesn't matter how good they talk. It doesn't matter how good they talk. I mean, a lot of them, they're not willing to go through that fire. They're not.
And dude, you were talking about he wasn't following the script. Obviously, there was no script. But speaking of scripts, let's talk about Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. What happened there?
The thing with Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, man, it's kind of sad to see. Of course, I'm great friends with both of these guys, but the promotion of the situation, one thing with Mike Tyson that people need to realize, and all through that promotion, Mike Tyson in his heyday, people need to understand, and I guess just people just didn't get it. People need to understand that span that Mike Tyson had, winning, being the first, yeah, being the youngest, yeah, just like world champion ever at 20 years old. That span was the span of 5 years. His dominance, 20 to 25, he went crazy. He was the most unstoppable machine we've ever seen. After that, he went through all of his situations, going to jail, in and out of jail. Of course, he still won a few fights, took some losses, blase, blase. But within that time, they were promoting and just showing clips of 20 to 25-year-old Mike Tyson, this animal that everybody loved, this animal that was just so invincible that just couldn't be stopped. But that was smart promotion on their end. And you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I saw a couple of I call it, slow motion videos where like you seen him like he could have just
But
swung, but he didn't. He almost looked like he was pulling back.
I mean, I got a chance to go see Mike, during camp, like during training camp, which a lot of people don't know. Um, and a lot of those clips, those small clips that they would show of Mike, going crazy training, ba 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 ba. That's the only thing that they were. They were clips. They were small clips. Now, what I mean, after these small clips, he would stop and he would and take his breath and what I mean, he just kind of just walk around. I mean, he still looked like he was the 57-year-old Mike. But like I said, but in that fight, man, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It's like you just never know. You just never know, man. You don't know. I mean, you don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's hard for me to say. It's hard for me to say because Mike was 57, 57 years old. Um, um, you know, I mean, it's hard to say. It's hard to say.
Well, I wouldn't fight either one of them, but I was thinking in my mind, and by the way, dude, Jake looked like a freaking beast that night as well. Looked like he put on some weight.
Yeah, of course. Jake had to be ready. Jake had to
Yeah,
be
but
ready.
I
He's
mean,
not a slouch either, man. He has a strong team. He has a strong team. He's hired some of the best in the boxing game to, like I said, come over there and work with him. That's why I give him respect in that sense, because I know the people that he's training with, and he's taking it seriously. But I just don't think you can. you can get to that level in that short period of time that he's trying to do it, and really get that real credibility that he wants. You know what I mean? I understand his format. I know what he's doing, which he's taking a lot of these. I mean, like I said, a lot of these legends in the MMA game and the fight game that have retired, but continue to have a strong legacy. And he just, he's just building off of that. You know what I mean? He's just building off of that. He's what, the kid is 20 some years old. He has a brick of a right hand. You know what I mean? He still has a brick of a right hand. And like I said, he's young and he has shitload of money, shitload of followers, and most of these guys, just like we spoke about earlier today, most of these guys are broke now. So if a young kid is calling them and saying, "Hey, I got 10 million for you, I got 5 million for you," you know what I mean, and I got some notoriety for you, shit, they coming out.
You know it.
And of course,
So, dude, what's the biggest problem for you outside the ring?
the biggest problem for me,
Yeah, like you got like scammers, fake friends.
of
Like,
course,
what would you say is your biggest battle now?
now, um, I think I believe in, like I said, with any fighter, any athlete, we go through a lot of, we deal with a lot of people, right? We get a lot of fans, we get a lot of family, we get a lot of, friends that come out of the woodwork with a lot of these new ideas. New ideas they want you to throw your money towards either, or new ideas they just want you to put your face on to try to just push situations. But I think, when it comes to athletes, to be honest, when it comes to a lot of athletes, the hardest thing is the transition. You know what I mean? To really try to step outside of their identity of just being that athlete or just being that fighter, and get that respect in a completely different arena, in business, in this and in that. And I got a chance to see, a lot of them. I got a chance to see a lot of people, because just continue to struggle from that, um, because it's a different type of high, right? Being a tremendous athlete, being a world class athlete, it's hard to put yourself in a space that you're going to get that high that you got, as being a world champion, or as being, Super Bowl champion, as being, whatever the case may be. So a lot of these guys, they do fall into depression. They fall into, they fall in different type of spaces where they just don't find a good sense of life anymore, a good sense of, you know, like I said, of purpose. But for me, the only thing that I get from this is, listen, man. I tell a lot of my guys now, like, listen, man, like, this is just like I said, like graduation stage. Same thing with us in the amateurs. We had to graduate. After I went to the Olympics, we had a great time, but it was time to graduate. And then we went to the pros, and we dominated to the highest, peak of the pro game. And it was time to graduate again. You know what I mean? Life doesn't stop. You're special for a reason. You know what I mean? Like, just this sport just doesn't just define you as just that. You're special. You're part of this, the small, half percent that have made it to a certain point. It just doesn't stop there. So now, like, even for me, it was time just for me to graduate again. Now let's attack this business the same way. Let's attack this other space the same way. And most of the time when I go to a lot of these masterminds, actually, us, like, we have that edge already. You know what I mean? When I go to a lot of these masterminds and I see a lot of these business guys, or I speak to a lot of these groups, the main thing that they call me in to speak to them about, is the mindset. You got guys that work, yeah, you're great business guys, but they want their people to have that championship mindset, that killer mindset to go out there and get it. And that's one thing that we've been having for the last 15, 20 years. They just gotta move it into a new arena. That's it.
Do what do you think goes wrong in fighters' minds? Like, you take Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney. Like what's going what do you think like changes? Do you think the money gets to their head? Do you think
Of
they have
course.
a bad team? What do you think is
It's
the
different.
reason?
It's different, Brad. You know what I mean? Like I say, you taking guys that came from nothing. These guys ain't have shit. They ain't have shit. and you giving them millions of dollars and giving them the spotlight. What the hell you think they're gonna do? It doesn't matter if you got a good team or not. You know what I mean? They want to live a different type of life. That shit it's going to inflate them in some type of way, especially if you don't have a solid foundation. Maybe you have a solid situation at home, or you didn't grow up with it, or just even guys that did, they still might find, that pride and that ego is gonna come into play. Especially you talking about in the fight game. This fight game is all about, of course, the skills, but you gotta have that ego. You gotta have that pride. You gotta have, something else just to, like I said, like that vibrato to let these guys know that you're here and you're the man, or they're gonna try to run over you. Period. But some guys, they they let it get too far. They really step outside of the realization of life and really think this shit is real all the time. And they let it get to them, man. And I believe that's one thing with it. You just can't let the success destroy you as a person, destroy you as a man, destroy your moral compass of who you are. You understand what I'm saying? I think that's what
Sure.
happened to a lot of these guys. I mean, I said like the Roy, like Ryan Garcias and Devin Haney's. I mean, some of these guys, they're taking this shit too far.
People also don't understand, I don't think, the consistency that these top level athletes go through, just consistency. Because if we try to apply that to business,
Yeah.
I see the same thing in business. Now, I wouldn't
Okay.
necessarily claim I'm some business guru.
You're a
Uh,
guru. You're a guru, Brad. But go ahead.
See, I don't. Again, everyone wants to put me in that category, and I'm honored that I'm put in that category. But at the
Yeah.
end of the day, I mean, dude, I'm still fighting, I'm still training, I'm still learning, I'm still
Yeah.
getting my ass kicked every day. But
Yeah.
most
Yeah, that's life.
people, most people that aren't at least where I am, they don't realize the consistency and the work ethic that goes into it, especially with fighters. So, like, you see these
Absolutely.
guys at the top of the game, you just think, oh man, Andre's just talented. Well, dude, listen, nobody
Bro.
saw all those hours in the gym, all those
Bro.
freaking sparring sessions. Like, that's
Bro.
what pays off in business as well.
Yeah, bro. I mean, they just see the fight for us, man. Like I said, a lot of us, we talk about it all the time. You know, like I said, like even now, like I'm getting offered to come back and fight and do all this stuff all the time now. Like you got your guy out in Saudi Arabia, he's just throwing around a lot of money, this and that. But the first thing, like I say, when it comes to us, when they talk about, hey man, we want you to come back and fight, the first thing that we're thinking about is shit, man, the training camp is gonna be hell. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what people don't see. That's what they don't realize, right? People, fans, they come and watch us, as as finished products, like on the stage, ready to put on a show. But they don't see 8 to 10 weeks of sparring, of weight training, of running, of swimming, going through injuries here and there, PT, a lot of recovery work, staying away from our families for 8 to 10 weeks, not having sex with women, not get none of that shit. Not eating what we want to eat. Just they just really don't understand how lonely this sport is. You know what I mean? It's very, 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 very lonely. And at the end of the day, the only thing that we want to do is go out there and just put on a tremendous show and to take care of our family. But sometimes, it doesn't go that way. You understand what I'm saying? And just imagine, after all the sacrifice of going out there and performing and losing or not putting on a great performance, and you have millions of people that come to watch, and if you don't give them the performance that they want, they trash you. They talk to you crazy. They say that you're trash. They say that you're no good. You know what I mean? Like I say, so when it comes to this game, I tell a lot of these guys now, man, this game, like it's amazing, but it gives you your highest of highs, but it can also give you your lowest of lows. You know what I mean? I've seen it, and I've seen it. I've been a part of it, before my career as well. So it's tough, man. It's a tough game. Tough game.
Dude, in the self-defense world, boxing, I keep being told, is one of the things that you definitely want to learn. Like,
Yeah.
from a trained fighter, how much easier is it to knock someone out if you know? I mean, is there a
Oh,
certain
it's too easy.
technique and way to do it that happens more often than not?
It's I mean, like I said, it's too easy. It's great for me if I walk into a room with 2, 3 thousand people. It's a different type of confidence to just know that I really can knock everybody out in this room if I wanted to. You know what I'm saying? Just, just knowing where to punch them, just knowing the correct way to turn your shots to hurt them and knock them out, and be sure and be confident that you know that you can knock them out. It's a completely different feeling. It's a
Where
completely
where on the face would you smack somebody if you were trying to knock them out?
Who me?
Where's the
I
number
mean,
one shot?
it's too many ways, man. I mean, I can hit somebody on the, I can hit him on the pay. I mean, right on the edge of the chin here. Could hit somebody right here on the edge of the chin, it's gonna jar the brain automatically, and it's gonna all. I mean, it's gonna automatically either knock them out or it's gonna knock off their equilibrium really quick, and it's just gonna. I'm there's gonna be down quick, right there on the point of the chin, right on the temple here. You just wanna hurt them, pretty bad. You can punch them right square in the nose. I mean, it's just a lot of different points on the body.
Yeah,
You
but
know, the head.
nose doesn't knock you out, does it?
No, it ain't gonna knock you out, but it's gonna break your shit up pretty good. It's gonna have you bleeding and look. It just depends on how I want to decorate you for that time. If I see you and just to see how I want to paint my picture with you, I can probably take that approach. Yeah, if I have a guy that's talking crazy, okay, cool. You know what? I think I just want to have him just bleeding everywhere, just like just look like a mess in front of everybody. Let me just punch him square in the nose and just break his shit, just to have him leaking everywhere. Or, you know what? He's talking a little too much. I think I want to put him to sleep real fast.
And
You know what I'm saying?
the chin would be the number one target.
Yeah, yeah. Cheney, no more target, no more
Side
target.
shot like this, side shot like this,
Side
or
shot,
straight on.
but side shot. You always want the side shot.
All right. So listen, you rumor has it, because I know a few folks,
You know
that
a couple of them.
you're getting into the old combat sports world a little bit.
Yeah, combat sports media, man.
You got a big media play coming
Yeah, man.
or happening.
Yeah,
Let's talk about that.
yeah, man. I think it's dope. I think a lot of people don't know, man. I put myself in position. I've always had a knack for creating, great content and media around certain situations where I feel that it was needed. I also ended up, selling a few shows to a few big networks, within the last few years. I can't tell you who, but a lot of those, great shows you guys watch, I was pretty much behind, a few of those. But this one right here, I kind of want to keep to myself now. But I think the space is just tremendously just wide open. Um, to be able to create great show concepts within the sports entertainment space. Because what a lot of people don't know, and which when it comes to this concept here, um, when it comes to us, I think they need to be able to show us in a different type of light, right? And at the same time, to try to integrate a lot of the celebrities as well that I know that really love and know their fight shit, but a lot of their fans don't know. So I want to be able to try to collaborate both sides of these situations, man, when it comes to the celebrities and also when it comes to these athletes in the UFC space, in the bare knuckle space, in the boxing space. The space is just getting so huge now when it comes to combat sports on every different level. And I want to be able to bridge a lot of that stuff together. There's a lot of things that are happening from influencers getting into the space to celebrities that love the space that really know their shit. I get calls from LL Cool J. I get calls from Snoop Dogg. I get calls from a lot of these celebrities that are talking about these fights that fucking just really know their shit. You know what I mean? I want to showcase it. All right, cool. Let's talk about it in front of the camera. You know what I mean? I want to go see the Jake Paul and you sit down and tell, hey man, let's really go into it. You know what I mean? Give a lot of these other fighters, these actual boxers that people don't know them outside of the ring, give them their chance to let the fans to see them and be able to see their lifestyle, to be able to see how they really act, outside the ring as well. A lot of their hobbies, a lot of shit that they like to do as well. You know what I mean? So maybe just to bridge all of that shit together, man, I think it'll be super dope. Super dope and be seen and documented in a different type of way that they're not used to.
Well, not only that, but like you very rarely see those.
At all.
They're really interesting because you don't get to see that. There's not a lot of that. Like you're going to
At
pretty
all.
much probably, I think, start a damn industry with that.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. Like I said, I've been having meetings the last, few weeks, with some big guys. Man, they're very, very, very excited about it. And like I said, I think it's just, like I said, like it's untapped, and I think the people are fiending for it. I think the people are fiending for it, and the athletes are fiending for it as well. And for me to be somebody that's part of that fight fraternity that really knows it, that's really been in the trenches, that have, I got all these plaques and got all these belts on the wall, and I not, and I understand what it means to be a fighter and to go through all that, ever go through all the shit and to be able to have the network with all these athletes and fighters and all these celebrities and all these entrepreneurs. Shit, let's damn bridge it up, man, and and make this shit look amazing.
Well, nowadays with the media, possibilities, all of that is like perfect timing. Not to
Perfect.
mention, dude, in the beginning, like of these fights you see or the UFC, and it shows like their training, and it just gives
Yeah.
you like a 3 minute
Yeah, yeah,
almost
yeah.
documentary, and
Yeah.
everybody loves those. That you're talking about making like hour
Shows.
long shows.
Yes, yes, yes. Real in depth situations. Of course, going into training camps. But then again, people want to see what these guys do out of fucking training all day. We see them while they're training, they're fighting. Okay, cool. But who is this guy for real? Like, who is he? You know what I
Who's his
mean? So,
family? Who's his
of
team? Who's his people?
yes. This is the type of shit that he loves to do outside the ring as well, man. And I think a lot of their fans are going to be able to connect with them in those certain areas as well. You might
Connect
see,
more.
yeah, to be able to connect more in a different type of way. You know what I mean? So like I said, I think the space is just wide open, and like I said, I already have a lot of big people that are interested in it, and I'm excited about it, man. I want to just get this thing rolling. So I
You
think it's
you
gonna be
raising
cool.
any money? Letting anybody in on the deal?
Right now, we're like I said, we're talking to some people. I got a few of the big networks that are already very interested. A few other big celebrities that are very interested. Me and you are gonna talk after this, see what's up. But I want to try to keep it pretty tight knit. You know what I mean? When it comes to the investors, and shit, we just go, man, and just have fun with it, and just blow it up.
Dude, not only that, but you're going to create a lifestyle from
Yeah,
just that yourself. Like, dude,
yeah,
that's running around, dealing with all these people, following
yeah,
them around with cameras, getting
yeah.
backstage, all the top
Full
access.
access, full access for these fights, full access, at home, full access. Well, I really want to. In my production as well, we're creating these other small pieces that are going to. I want to be able to draw a lot of these guys, outside of just being tough fighters. Like, just really pull them out a little bit in a way to get into shit that they love, that is fun. And so, so people can be able to see them have a great time outside of just training and fighting as well. So we got a few other dope concepts that we're going to bring to the table with it. That's really just going to open everybody up, man. And I think it's going to be cool. I think it's going to be really cool.
It sounds like you're almost going to direct them.
Yeah. Because I think one thing that I found, stepping into the media space, and selling a few shows is some of these shows, they're sold because of me. All right. Because like sometimes I use myself as a concept and I shoot a sizzle with just using me, and I already have a great personality. I have the charisma, I have this, and I have that, but a lot of these fighters don't. You sit them down and they're gonna give you this. They're gonna look at you crazy. They're gonna talk tough. They're gonna da 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 da. Da. So I want to be a type of person that listen, bro. I know you. I know what you've been through. But then again, when we're out in the locker room, when we're out in the gym, I need that. I need that openness. I need that. I need that vibe. You're not sitting with one of these goofy guys with these suits on and these networks. You're talking to me. You know what I mean? Like you don't need to be tough for me. I know what's going on. So just to be able just to open them up in that way, and I believe a lot of them will feel a lot more comfortable just knowing that they're spending time with with a fellow guy that's in their fraternity that speaks their language, that understands their pain, and to be able to be able just to open them up.
Yeah, but normally someone like you throws a little money, gets a team together, and you're just like almost as if like you put it together and you're an investor.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're going to be freaking throwing some creativity and making sure that those programs are extra special.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's the best way to do it. I mean, like I said, I mean, when it comes to these visions, I think I've always had a knack of just being able to create these visions and just knowing what I believe that the people want to see. And I have, a little bit of a track record, being able to sell a few shows, a few of these networks that have been successful. So so I got a chance to really be like, okay, cool. I think I gotta, I really got a gift with this, man. And just pretty much, a lot of these other concepts I've even brought to social media, man. A lot of people they just love them. So it's just the fact that just really putting the network together, man, and just going at it.
You
And
don't want
right.
you don't want to you don't want a bunch of people hitting you up for investment, do you?
No, no, because at this point, because at this point, um, when it comes to media, I got a chance to really, sit back and see the shift, right? Um, Yeah, before, you needed a big production team to really try to get a lot of this shit moving, if it's on a YouTube channel, whatever the case may be, on this and that. But nowadays, man, it really just doesn't take much. It really doesn't take much. You get you somebody that has some good structure, great team to put certain situations together, a few cameras. It just depends on how you want to really try to, run your situation, right? You see guys like a Shannon Sharp. I was just talking to a friend of mine about it just earlier. You see a guy like Shannon Sharp that's very, very, it's very structured. And he has a great situation, but his situation is more structured. It looks nice. But then again, you have you have a team like $1 million worth of game that I believe they have like probably 2 or 3 million subs. They're going crazy, but their format is more of like a run and gun, format, and people appreciate it because it looks more organic because it's very run and gun. Just go at it and they shoot this stuff but the fans appreciate it because they know that's really them. You understand what I'm saying? There's no fluff around it. So it just depends on how you want to go about it. But from but for me, it just continues to let me know that the freedom to be able to shoot it in a lot of different ways will be appreciated. Of course, by a certain group of people that's going to make your situation go. So it doesn't have to be structured the same way that everybody else needs to be. Just needs to just needs to be dope. Just needs to be dope shit.
Well, normally I'll say, what can the bomb squad do for you? Because I got some people with some coin listening. So if you're not
I
looking
need the
for investors,
coin.
huh?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah. You know what? Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna go ahead and open it up to the investors. Anybody that wants to invest for sure, man, definitely come. I mean, definitely holler at us about it. Like I said, we're excited about it. I don't think we need a shitload of investors for it. But definitely the right investors for it.
Yeah. So just because you want to invest doesn't mean you can. But
Yeah.
where would they like reach out to you and try to get your attention?
Um, right now, they can reach out to me on our business email, BertoEnterprises at gmail.com. Right now, they can reach out to me on all my social media handles, of course, Andre Berto on all social media platforms. But yeah. holla at your boy. It's gonna be
And
fun.
folks, he ain't looking for small non-accredited investors.
You
Anybody
know,
listening to this, like if you're the real thing, reach out, you
we
might get in.
we need the real thing, baby.
Yeah. Well, dude, I'm excited for you, man. I guarantee you that's going to be a winner. That's going to be a winner.
Yeah, man. I mean, like I say, I think the space is wide open, and like I say, from you, I mean, just me knowing you for a while, you know that our network is pretty crazy, just all the way around the board. When it comes to entertainment, when it comes to athletes, when it comes to influencers, it's just the fact of just putting the team together the right way, and you know what I mean, and going crazy.
Well, I want to take a look at it, dude, because I mean, if anybody gets involved in that, dude, they're going to have freaking unfettered access to the
Oh, that's
freaking to the
yes,
game.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know it.
That's freaking awesome. Well, dude, I appreciate you
So,
giving me some time today. I know it was out of the
appreciate you.
blue,
Yeah, it's
and
all good.
you're always welcome anytime, anytime. You
I
know I
appreciate you.
appreciate it.
I appreciate you, brother. You know that. And I appreciate you.
All right. Well, listen, I'll let you go. Folks, you already heard BertoEnterprises at gmail.com. If you're a serious investor and you like to get, or you think you might want to get involved or at least get the deck, reach out. Go
Yeah.
follow this dude at and Andre Berto. As you know, until next time, keep it real.